Thank you, Aldrin. Thanks for having me. Again, we are very concerned because, as you rightfully pointed out, the directive comes as a result of eThekwini losing more than 50% of the water that they purchase from Mgeni water. So essentially, the water that we're getting from Mgeni, half of it is basically unaccounted for. And we've been raising this issue for a while now, even with the previous mayor. And there's been, no move from the municipality in any direction as to resolve this issue. And obviously, Amgeni Water has been putting pressure on eThekwini to resolve the issue, and they're not taking it seriously. And that is why it went to the national department. But let's unpack this. So, of the 56 or 58% of the non-revenue water, about 10 to 15% goes to previously disadvantaged communities, which we are aware of. And we have absolutely no issue with that. In fact, we encourage it. But what we are also saying in terms of budgeting, the municipality needs to meter that water so that we are aware X amount of liters per day are going to these communities so that we can correctly budget for it every year on year. The remainder of the water that's being lost is due to theft, it's due to poor infrastructure, it's due to leaks on properties. Now, many of the properties, and we're talking about thousands of properties, and these properties have their meters have not been read for more than a year, more than 12 months, 18 months, etc., etc. When the municipality goes and reads the meter, then only these residents become aware of underground leaks. And we're talking vast amounts of water, over 1,500 liters per day per household. Now, because of the inefficiencies of a eThekwini municipality, you can imagine the amount of wastage that is taking place. And this is what the department is asking the municipality to address. In their answer to the problem is to now go on to water restrictions or inserting restricted devices on the community that is actually paying for water. Now, this again demonstrates the poor leadership from eThekwini, because you actually want to reduce the consumption of the paying consumer. Which, how are you then going to pay for the remainder of the water which you're not getting any revenue from? They're putting themselves in a deeper hole. As an organization, we have been calling on them to partner with us to find these solutions in order to address this issue, especially with the water, because again, water is such a precious resource that if you don't manage it properly, it's going to affect many communities.
Give us a typical example. So if this program is implemented from Thursday, how will it affect you and your household?
Well, what we've been told that households will obviously, well, currently at the moment, Aldrin, this is what's happening. They shut off reservoirs for hours upon time. So one particular area will get shut down. There'll be no water in that area for almost half a day, whilst they fill up a reservoir in another area. And then they do this on a rotational basis. The problem that's happening in regards to this is that obviously the infrastructure, when they reopen those valves, collapse and the pipes burst. There's air that goes through the system, and in many instances, it's actually affecting residents. So we've called this out as well, and obviously eThekwini doesn't want to do anything because air going through the meter, residents end up paying for it. So they actually end up paying for air instead of water, and the municipality is not prepared to even entertain any of this. So it's their way of obviously increasing revenue as well. So it's a concern. It's a serious concern.
Yeah, I want to get a sense of how this would affect a resident. We do understand the technicalities that you're speaking about and the impact on the infrastructure. But at the end of the day, the end user, how's the end user affected by this particular move?
Well, imagine being restricted to only or less than 100 liters per day per household, which means people won't be able to cook, they won't be able to bath, your complete standard of living is going to be affected. I mean, I get it that many people obviously do bucket baths, in the rural communities. But again, it's imposing a different way of life unnecessarily, because again, speaks to the poor leadership of the city. I mean, those who rely on water for business, as an example, what are they going to do? I can tell you now, car washes will close.
Yeah, and that is when we speak about the impact that it has on the end user. I don't know if you believe perhaps maybe there is an alternative that could be implemented by the city that would result in residents having at least more water than what they would currently be receiving. Because 50% of non-revenue water loss, that's a lot.
It's a crazy amount of water. It's crazy amount, and you can see it. I mean, if you drive around at eThekwini, you can see the water loss. You can see those pipes that are leaking. You can see where there's a broken infrastructure. You can see it. It's not to say that it's hidden. This is all visible, stuff that you can actually go and fix, which we have been calling on. And remember, residents in eThekwini pay an infrastructure surcharge, which they've been now collecting for over 3 years. And we are saying that money should actually be used to repair the infrastructure. If you look at the water that comes from the water treatment plants under Mgeni, from the plant to where it comes to eThekwini's point, those pipes are 100%. There's no issue. It's after that point where we start to lose water.
Yeah.
Now, the previous mayor, he was talking about bringing in drones and infrared cameras. He was talking all, high-tech stuff in order to detect these leaks. But none of that happened. I mean, you don't even need sophisticated equipment to actually go and detect these leaks. You just need to get people in boots on the ground, and then you
Yeah.
can go and have a look, and you can see where the problems are.
As a residents association, what's your next move? Will you be meeting with the municipality? Are you considering court action? Is there discussion at all? Perhaps maybe a ratepayers boycott?
I can tell you many residents are going to be up in arms. And usually, I mean, we've been in the space for so long. We've been talking about it, and people just basically waiting to see what happens. And I can tell you that the moment the city starts to implement any of these measures, it's going to boil over. I can guarantee you that it will boil over.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time there. That is the chairperson of the eThekwini Ratepayers Movement, Asad Gaffar, and this is on the implementation of water rationing that will be taking place in eThekwini, and that's because the municipality has been losing 56% of its water to non-revenue water, and this is an increase from 33% just 10 years ago, so the situation becoming dire by the year.